Hello everybody. Well, it's the afternoon, so I'm going to say good afternoon wherever you are. Beautiful day here in Miami. Welcome to Eat and Exercise for the Perfect Body. That's us here on YouTube, and to our website eatinworkout.com. Today we're already up to, recipe 4 and exercise 4. Got a really interesting recipe. If you remember last week we did an easy thing, a salad. Well, it's getting a bit cooler now, so what I thought is I'd introduce you to some food. Again, it can be done in under 400 calories and in under 25 minutes, like all our recipes. Today, this food has a little bit of a bite to it if you want it to. Just pull back a little bit on the red pepper flakes or not, but it should be nice for the winter time and give us a little bit of warmth inside. It's actually called shrimp arrabbiata. So it's just a nice little term for a little bit of spice, a little bit of heat to it, which, as I say, will come from our red pepper flakes. Good thing about this recipe is that it's going to be done pretty quickly. Maybe not as quickly as our salad last time, but as you know, everything that we do is under 25 minutes and under 400 calories, as we said. This is just over 300, and we're going to be able to cook this in, I reckon, about 10 and 15 minutes. And for those of you who love pasta, we're going to add in some linguine or spaghetti if you want. Just make sure it's 100% whole wheat to keep the calories down, to keep it more nutritious. The exercise today, we're going to do a single leg static lunge. I'm going to show you how to do that with proper form. Let's get on with it though. I'm getting a little hungry. I can see Chris is there, so let's get on and start to get into the kitchen and commence with our shrimp arrabbiata. See you in the kitchen. Back in the kitchen again. Let's run through the ingredients that we're going to use. All right, this is shrimp arrabbiata, remember. What I love about this is low in calories and really low in the number of ingredients that we have, but beautiful tasting. So you've got the normal seasonings there: pepper, pinch of pepper, some salt. This is dried, here we go with the pronunciation, oregano if you're from Britain, oregano if you're in the States and elsewhere. This is what's going to give us the heat. Now it's up to you. For 4 people, there's a tablespoon there. Again, go to the website eatinworkout.com and you'll see the exact ingredients for 4 people. Obviously for 2 it'll be half a tablespoon, but just use your fingers and go according to your taste buds. I'm going to keep to that half a tablespoon there because I like my food to have a little bit of a bite to it. Extra virgin olive oil, you know about that. I'm going to just finish chopping off some, again, here's the difference in pronunciation, basil or basil. We're going to use that for gorgeous flavor. I'm adding a bit of onion. It doesn't suggest this in the recipe. I'm just going to put it in there for a little bit more flavor, and I love the purple onion. And then the garlic, we had a quiz question about the garlic, didn't we? So let me just quickly chop that up. So as Alex trying to do it as chef-like as possible. Remember, you guys, we are not chefs, okay? And we're very proud of that. We're just a bunch of in the kitchen trying to show you that if we can do it, you can do it. And come on, you're all hungry, you got home, you battled traffic, but you do want something that's nutritious, but you want something that's also easy. So don't be put off. Kitchen is just an easy place. What we're also using is, I just bought a can of, should I put my hand over the label here? But look, diced tomatoes. Here we go with the pronunciation again, diced tomatoes. This is getting to be a real learning course today. And then we have some tomato paste as well there, okay? That's going to be added into the recipe. And the rudiments are going to be our spaghetti over there, Chris. Make it healthy, 100% whole grain, okay? Don't just get the white one loaded with simple carbs. You don't want that, especially those of you who want to keep your calories down, want to keep your weight down. And then here's our shrimp. It's been deveined. Remember, when you buy shrimp, and this is for those people who do like shrimp, be very careful for those who don't like crustaceans, but if you like shrimp, devein it. Try not to get the frozen one, because the frozen ones tend to have a lot of water content, so when you start to saute them, they're just going to blurb out in water, and that's going to affect the taste. And secondly, they're just a lot more chewy, so get your shrimp fresh. and devein it. So you cut it in the middle. You know how to do that. You cut it in the middle and you get all that little black bit in there, and you just take that bit out, okay? Very, very important. What we're going to do before we go out and do the exercise is this. I've got that olive oil that you saw there. So there's half a tablespoon of olive oil sitting in my saucepan here, and I'm just going to saute the shrimp. Okay, I'm going to get them nice and did this a little bit. Gotta love that noise. Just go easy on this. So we'll go round and around with them with my little patriotic spoon here. I feel so English. I'm going to turn this down just a little bit, but this is just to get them. You can see they were a little orangey because I did, to be honest, cook them a little bit before just to make sure everything was okay. But we're just going to make them a little bit more orangey, a little bit brown, as you can see there as they sit here. See, even there's a little bit more water coming off. That's why I did them before, so there wouldn't be that much. A lot of people cook these. This is a very interesting thing. A lot of people immediately cook these in the garlic and the onion. Don't do that, because then they'll just sit in that water, and you don't want them to do that, and they won't get much flavour from that. So we're just going to do this first and leave the onion and the garlic and the basil till later, as you'll see. All right, so this is almost done. This is going to take you, again, it's the coloration that's going to dictate when they're ready. This nice orangey colour, but do you hear that sizzle is gone now because of the water content? So they're almost like boiling in this, and we don't want them to do that. So we take them out now. They're orangey enough. I'm going to keep that to low. This is going to go through our sieve thing here and just sit there. Of course they're going to cool down. I'm going to keep that pan on there, and we're going to put a little bit more oil in there. Now, for those of you who are even more intent on, let's say, losing your weight or eating far more healthily, instead of the olive oil in its oil form, you can use olive oil in a spray can, and you'll have far less calories. For example, a tablespoon of olive oil is going to be almost the same number of calories as a glass of wine. It's around about 130, would you believe? A lot of people don't realize that. There's a lot of calories. It may be a MUFA, monounsaturated fatty acid, and very good for your heart, but there's a little bit dense in calories there. So you could use the spray instead. Let's give it a quick spray. Funny thing about this is it will tell you according to the number of seconds that you spray. It'll say a quarter of a second will give you hardly any calories. So use a spray if you're more concerned about weight loss and eating even more healthily. All right, so our shrimp are now cooked. They're sitting on the side there, as Chris is showing you. I'm going to keep the pan a little warm while you and we all go to the balcony, and I'm going to show you the exercise that we're going to do on this particular occasion, which is a lunge. All right, let's see you out on the balcony. Here we are again, back into the sunshine. Love this place. This, one of my favourite exercises, and ladies, this is a brilliant one for you, for your legs, for tightening and toning, and glutes at the same time, okay? You guys too, but you see a lot of women doing these, but I see a lot of people doing this incorrectly, and it's absolutely crucial to get this right, not only for powerful results, but for least effort, but to avoid injury, especially of the patella of the knee. And I'm going to talk you through that, okay? That's why it's good to be out here. That's why it's good to have a personal trainer. That's why it's good to go to our website, eatinworkout.com, and you'll see all our exercises there. Single leg static lunge. So you hear the word static, that means we're not moving anywhere, all right? It's on the spot. First important thing to tell you is a nice, decent stride. So there we go. I've moved obviously with my right leg forward. Focus on the knee here, Chris. Focus on the end of the toes of my foot, crucial. Before we get into that, let's have a look at the back foot. The back foot, you can see the heel is up and you're on the ball of that back foot. That's how it stays. When you move, you don't want to see any flexion or extension in that left ankle. It stays static. All the work is being done by my right quad. The quad, the thigh of my front leg, and the glute of my front leg. You don't want to be helped out by anything else. Back leg is purely for balance. So, what do I mean about issues with injuries, imagine an invisible line perpendicular that runs from my toe straight up to the ceiling. When I start to bend, this is the action, I do not want this knee to break that line. It's got to stay behind that line. Any more forward, you put untold pressure, let's just keep it simple, on the knee joint, and over time you'll hurt yourself. So if you're not strong enough to do this, a lot of people have knee issues, then stay with the squats we did in the chair. You can put a ball in your back, I'll do these later, and do ball squats against a wall. Just be aware of this exercise. You can use a chair on the side or get somebody to help you, but you eventually do want to strengthen your quad and the surrounding muscles around that patellar area, and this is a good exercise to do it. If in doubt, because of knee issues, then just obviously consult with your physician. So let's run through what we're going to do today. There's the knee. Now the other thing to talk about is the hip, which is here, my hip joint. I want to bend and take my hip towards the ground, but no further than when it's in line with my knee, okay? And then we're going to come back up again. So let me do it and I'll break it down and talk you through it in stages. So here we go. Watch that back foot, heel stays up. It's purely for balance. I don't sway. Down I come. My left knee almost touches the ground, doesn't sink to the ground, almost touches the ground. Hip is in line with the knee. Drive straight up. Again, you can't see my knee pushing forward, jutting forward, and driving straight up. Two other things to tell you about. As I bend, and so my knee gets flexed, look what happens to my chest. My body stays perpendicular to the floor. I do not lunge forward. I do not flex at the hips, okay? Because that'll take my knee forward. And again, put too much emphasis, too much extra onto the knee. I keep my chest up. My thigh is parallel to the floor. Chest and upper body is perpendicular to the floor. And up I come. Inhale on the way down. Exhale on the way up. All right, you do 10 of those and you'll obviously just switch. Take a nice size stride again. Don't overdo it. Don't underdo it. You'll see, nice, just a nice ordinary stride. Down we come, drive straight up. Down we come, drive straight up. The knee is before the end of my toe there, that line. That, my friends, will really work. You can already hear it in my breathing, because these are the two greatest muscle groups. It's probably because I'm pretty unfit as well. Not really, but these are the largest muscle groups in the body. Glutes first, thighs, quads second, and so they demand a lot of oxygen. So if you want a little bit of cardio, a little bit of aerobic workout, you hear it in the breathing. Fantastic exercise. Go to eatingworkout.com. You'll see it in one of our programs that we'll design for you. Shrimp, that's on my mind right now. Come on in, Chris, let's get back to the kitchen. We'll see you in there. Bye. Well, having regained my breath from the balcony and that lunge, we're now returned to the kitchen here. One thing I did forget to say, see, I told you we weren't all experts and none of us are perfect, but before I went on the balcony, I should have, my water was being heated, just pop your spaghetti in there, okay? I like it al dente, so it's only got a couple more minutes. So that's well on its way. The shrimp, as you know, had been done. Now we've got to do the second part. So that is making this lovely, delicious sauce. So remember, I chopped up some garlic, some onion, and some basil. Actually, basil's quite interesting. Come over here, Chris. Basil's quite interesting because not only is it wonderful for flavour, and if you can, please just try and buy some and grow it. If you live in a nice climate, get a bit of sunshine and it's temperate, then buy a plant and just keep it on your windowsill. It'll give you a lovely fragrance, and then you're using your own organic foods. But the thing about basil is it was used by herbalists, and still today they believe that it has some amazing properties, and I've actually used it, and I've spoken to some people who have gleaned the benefits from it. And that is that one of the things that basil does is just take a leaf, a medium-sized leaf, we're going to use one for decoration, and put it on your tongue, and then just start to chew it, start to masticate very, very, very slowly. It's got these lovely oils inside it. Break down those oils, mix with the enzymes in your saliva, and then just swallow it. And what herbalists and holistic practitioners believe is that basil will help you on mild headaches. So if you've got a very sort of soft headache, it'll help you with that. Apparently one of the things it does is it just relaxes muscles. All right, so what I'm going to do is to this, so you've got the garlic, it's now browning, the onions are browning. I'm going to add a little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt, you know me, and then, now if there were 4 of you, it would be this whole can. 2 of you, there would be half a can. But, God, I love that sound. So I'm doing this for 2. Once again, remember the ingredients are on eatinworkout.com. All right, I'm deliberately keeping away some of the juice because what we do is we want this to thicken. But we're almost there with that. Looks good, doesn't it, Chris? He doesn't say much, but I can tell you his nostrils have widened, his pupils have dilated, so he's all right. So there you've got that. Then I'm going to reach in here, Chris, grab some paste, again for 4, I think a serving of 4, they said that it would be a tablespoon, so I'm going to add about half. But here's our tomato paste that goes in there, gives it that nice rich tomatoey flavour. And then I've yet to add, now this is the important bit, okay? Here's our oregano, that goes in there. Smell that, Chris? Nice, isn't it? Yeah, just lovely. Okay, so putting our dab in that. Now this is, you can see obviously with the heat that this liquid now will start to, there's a technical term for this, I've forgotten what it's called. What's it called? Emulsify or something, I think that's what it is, where it sort of burns off and it starts to thicken. Maybe that's the wrong word, but there we go. We want a little bit of liquid there, and then what we need to do now is we're going to add these red pepper flakes. Now remember, it's down to you guys. You should know if you're using these how much you want, as to how much heat you want into this. All right, in there I put half a tablespoon for 2 people, so it's going to give us a little bit of a kick. If you do not like, because it's chilies or red peppers, if you don't like so much heat, then back off a bit, but I do, especially with shrimp. But look at that. So there it is. Now the shrimp comes in. That's being cooked, remember, quarters of the way. We just are reheating it now. So there we go with all of those. I'm just going to add, I want to add maybe a little bit more, just a touch of juice in there. So there's Alex spilling it, but let it sit, let the shrimp, and I'm just going to sprinkle a couple of little flakes over my shrimp here, so I get them on the shrimp itself rather than just the juice. Okay, it takes about between, I would say, 2 to 3 minutes just to reheat those shrimp and let them draw in all the flavours of those tomatoes and all the spices and the herbs we put in. I'm going to lower that now. You can see from our pasta it's ready. It's turned a much lighter colour. That tells me we're there. This I'm just going to lift up a little, the heat out of it, and then put it back down again just to stay warm. I like my food warm. Alright, let's go over there, Chris, over towards my sink. Remember, this is going to take you guys, seriously, less than 50 minutes. We say all our dishes are under 400 calories and can be cooked in under 25 minutes. This is way, way below that you're looking at. So here we go. Now, remember I was doing it for, if I wanted 2 people, you know, there's 2 of us here, I'd be giving it a lot more pasta. All right, our sauce. Now, don't mind me, but I'm going to taste this a little bit just to make sure. I didn't taste it while we were doing it. Oh my God, boy, seriously, this is brilliant. Okay, and there is a kick to it. This is going to go all over my pasta. Whoa! Maybe a few flakes than we should have, Chris. You're going to be having most of this. Okay, so there's your dish. This goes back here, and then, all right. You know, one thing I didn't do? I was supposed to add some basil to this dish, wasn't I? I forgot to, but that's okay. We're going to garnish it here, and we're going to include, there we go, a little bit. See? That was supposed to go in the sauce. So put this put this in your sauce. I forgot. So when I was doing the sauce, okay, with the tomatoes, we're not going to cut this and re-edit it. I mean, goodness sake, you could laugh at us. But what you're going to want to do is, look, I chopped it all up so nicely. This needed to be in with the sauce. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit more of this on there, but cook this. This will add a little bit more flavour to your sauce. It was sitting there and I forgot about it. There you go. Told you, this is all live, and we're not going to do it again. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit more on here. But guys, add this in next time when you add in the tomatoes. Looks good though, doesn't it? I think it does. All right, so here we are, just about to tuck into this beautiful dish. Smells beautiful. Quiz question. Earlier, when I was in the kitchen, I talked about the holistic properties of basil. What were they, or what are they? If you know, then go to eatinworkout.com. It's on the screen here. It's even here as well. And then you'll see it. You'll click on recipes, and there'll be a quiz question underneath that. And you'll be able to do a couple of things. Answer that question. It's free. Just put in the answer. This is recipe number 4. As you'll see, you have to put that in there, shrimp arrabbiata, and give us the answer. You'll all go into a draw, and someone will win a prize. While you're on that website, you're going to get the whole breakdown of these ingredients, not only constituents of them, the measurements, but it'll give you the caloric breakdown as well. I think this has just over 300 calories in it. It's amazing. We're gonna drink while we eat now. Bid you adieu. Now, some of you are going to want wine with this. That's great, but I always find that when you've got a dish that has a little bit of heat to it, a little bit of spice, then beer with its yeast content goes down a treat. So we're going to say cheers to you all.